Hello there, folks. Welcome to the last regular class before we get to final exams. So we'll have folks getting into the room here pretty quickly. See what we've got. See what we've got. All right. One person in the room. All right. Somebody has arrived. Evan, is that you? Well, nevertheless, we'll be underway minute and a half or so. Well, I guess we're all living under curfew life, aren't we? That's yet another unusual thing that we're going through this year. All right, we're almost ready to get underway. Well, if nothing else, we've made it through this semester. I mean, that's a good thing. Two people in the room. Okay. Louis, hello. Hello there. Anyone else? Okay. All right, I got it at 9:10. Let's start. Let's get into the announcements. Fall registration continues. Hi, Ethan. How are you? This is a big day in supplemental instruction. Today, 12:30 on the Discord platform with Stephanie is your final exam supplemental instruction. Questions from across the entire second half of the course. So this would be a good one to go to. It really, really would be. Up next, the food bank that was scheduled for today was canceled. I got an email about it yesterday, and the email said that it was also sent out to students that it was canceled. And the reason is kind of unfortunate. I mean, on a couple of levels. Apparently, these food bank events are so big that security is needed. And the Glendale PD, given the unrest that is going on, both peaceful civil disobedience and then those others who go beyond that, that Glendale PD didn't feel comfortable providing security because they thought they might get called elsewhere. So the food bank scheduled for today has been canceled. The college will send out an email if it gets rescheduled. So that's what we know. Up next, oh, hi, Jackie. Ethan, hello. Up next, the letters of concern and support are coming in regard to the George Floyd murder and concerns about continuing racially motivated police violence in the United States. Yesterday, I got a letter from the president of the college, Dr. Vyar, expressing his concerns. But since I'm talking to students right now, I thought that your student government, the Associated Students of Glendale College, sent out a particularly thoughtful letter. This went out on Sunday night. So I'll read it to you because it's pretty brief. Dear Vaqueros, we write to all of you tonight in hopes that you and your families are safe. In the wake of the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Sean Reed, Tony McDade, and countless others, we are reminded once again of the systemic injustices and racial inequality still present in the United States today. We recognize that in the midst of everything our Black peers will have to continue to fulfill their responsibilities as students, including attending class and studying for finals. Doing this while bearing the burdens of centuries of oppression and systemic racism that has led to the loss of countless Black lives only amplifies the stressors of being a student. As student leaders, we offer support and solidarity with our Black community on campus and call on our college leaders and the student body at large to do the same. We urge our peers to seek out educational resources and take action. We know that there is work to be done to advance inclusion and equality on our campus. We will continue to educate ourselves and our campus community on confronting and dismantling the ways that racial discrimination permeates our larger communities. Together, we can bring change. We stand with you in the fight for justice. Associated students of Glendale College. I'm proud to teach students who can come up with such a clear-headed statement at such a troubling moment. Well, let's move on to the final exams. If this was a normal semester, there would be a designated day and time that you would need to come in for your exam. But I am continuing to give exams in this class asynchronously. So what you need to know about the final in terms of timing is I will open it tomorrow, 1 minute after midnight, essentially on June 3rd, it'll open. And it'll close at 11:59 p.m. on June 10. So you got to take your final, within that time frame. It's going to be mostly multiple choice. There will be some essay questions. I've decided that you need to have a little bit of rigor in this class. I mean, I'm very happy with the decision that I made the class unusually easy. But at the same time, as you leave the class, I want you to get a taste of what real college level academic work is like. So, yeah, be ready, but it'll be open book. You can handle it. Okay. Now, that said, I am contractually required to be around online at the day and time of your final, even if I'm giving it asynchronously. So, just for the record, for your class, 9-10, Tuesday, Thursday, the final exam is scheduled for 9:10 a.m. this Thursday, 2 days from now. Now, that doesn't mean you have to take it in that time frame, but it does mean that I will be available through Canvas chat and through email during that time frame. Think of it as an extra office hour, if you want to contact me about something. So, okay, that's what we got on finals. All right. And remember, it's covering, the final is covering chapters 9 through 15. So that is television through the end of the course. Let me know if there's any questions about that. Get that going in the chat box if you have any questions. I'll move along, but I'll look at the chat box. I am still continuing to have a student here and there saying, please reopen this or please reopen that. This is kind of like the last opportunity to do that. Now, what I am asking is for you to be specific. I'll get those emails that say, oh, please open whatever it is I've missed. Well, no. Go back through your grade book. And if there's a couple of media note quizzes or one of the exams that you missed, name it and I'll reopen it for you. Okay. Well, question of the day. I didn't even write down the question of the day because this being the last class, it's kind of obvious. Um, the question of the day is, how will you remember this semester? I mean, obviously, it's been different than any semester you've ever been in, from kindergarten to present and going forward. What what will be going forward your outstanding memory of this semester? Imagine someday you're my age and you're trying to tell your children or your grandchildren, this is what it was like. I was in college and this is what it was like. So, what's going to be your memory of this very, very unusual semester in your life? I guess in when I think about it, and I'm kind of vamping for time while you come up with your answers. Uh, I guess when I think of what makes this so unusual for me was the idea of having to get up to speed on uh, not just Canvas but also YouTube Live, and just do so in a hurry and make it be fairly functional. It was that week that we had to do the changeover, especially for us older teachers. I I really do think somebody will make a funny movie out of it someday. Hello, Georgia. How you doing? But what about for you guys? How are you going to remember this unusual semester where you started off in a classroom and then suddenly this, god awful virus came up and everybody and everything got thrown online, and you know you were suddenly going to class through your phone or something like that. Um, I don't know. What's your memory of it? All right, Ziggy. Ziggy is first on off the line with this. How my professors stepped up and went out of their way to get the change done, and showed how much they care about their community and students. Ziggy, you're not trying to curry favor with that comment, are you? But well, what I can say is, we tried. It probably has not been perfect. In fact, I know it hasn't, but we've tried. So what's Armin got here? Armin is above all still a student, right? Armin, you're asking the classic student question. If I'm above 200 points, that's my position before the final. Yeah, a point is a point. Armin, you're doing great if you got 200 points. Don't worry about a thing. Yeah, I know, Ziggy. I know. Thank you. Ethan is saying, I think just 2020 itself. It seems each month gets more interesting. So 2020 is one for the books, and it'll be a long exam for future students in history. Yeah. Some of the steps and missteps are going to be hard for historians to explain. Everything from, how is it that, other pandemics were pretty much stopped without too much disruption of normal life. Except this time, what were all the things that went wrong that, oh my gosh, we're at, 100,000 deaths and growing, Yeah, so this really will be one for the history books. And not to mention the extreme political rhetoric. Jackie, I'll remember it by staying home, and so much was happening outside in the world. Yeah. Let me just say, Jackie, in regard to all that is going on outside in the world, I guess it's a pretty uncertain time, pretty scary time. I don't. I'm certainly not afraid of the peaceful protesters. In fact, the right to assembly is in the First Amendment. Now, that said, some of the folks, I don't know who they are, but who are encouraging to make it turn violent and, and so forth, they concern me. What I can also tell you, though, is having lived through the 1992 unrest in Los Angeles, that was a lot worse. In 1992, at the worst of it, I think there was something like 800 fires burning in the city. So, yes, this is a tense time. Um, but oh gosh, I'm not seeing destruction on that level, thankfully. Ziggy is saying things will never truly be the same as it was. I think you're right. In that way, it's kind of like 9/11, September 11, 2001. The nation became a little more distrustful. It became a little more security oriented. It just never got quite back the same way. Armin is saying, Armin, I'm the best professor who handled it very professionally. Well, I'm just old. That's all it is, Armin. I'm just Ziggy. This is the year that people stop showing their faces. Yeah, will we ever be comfortable and friendly among strangers again? I don't know. I mean, gosh, I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up in East Hollywood, near Hollywood, Normandy, and my mom didn't drive, so we took the bus everywhere. And I grew up in a time when you just sat on the bus bench, and who knows who was on the other end of that bus bench, and you just strike up a conversation. And I don't know, that's going to be harder to do now. Yeah. Well, thank you for Ziggy, for the vote of confidence on the YouTube channel. Uh, Ziggy is mentioning Reginald Denny. Yeah, Reginald Denny was a gentleman who was beaten in the craziness of 1992, and he was a truck driver who is a classic example of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay. All right. Well, let's move along. The media note. Let's see. Oh gosh, what did I do for the media note? I have the last media note written down here. Oh, I know what it is. I've forgotten what the title is, but the media note is about the World Health Organization. Life is a game. That's right. That's the title of the media note. Okay. Life is a game. It's an NPR story about the World Health Organization and a very interesting call that they made in their official classification of emotional disorders and addictions. So listen to that story. Go through the media note quiz, your last one of the semester, and then I want you to go through chapter 15. That is the international chapter. All right, guys. Other than the exam, we've kind of reached the end. Any closing comments? Of course, I'll be heading over to Canvas Chat as always. So, okay. Ending the live stream. See ya.